Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 837 on the podcast. Boy, I tell you what, we've been trying this through. This is our fourth take on this episode, and we will do our best to finish the market update. It looks like we got about 3 minutes on the last episode of this episode 837, so let's continue on with that update. Not sure, I didn't look and see where it ended up at, but we did a major market update with the major markets, S&P 500, the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq, and the S&P and the IWM, which is the Russell. Now, if you heard this already, we're going to hear it again. Here is our gold and silver update. I know we did not get into that. Gold currently at $1,919.01 per ounce of gold. Down 0.02% on the day, so not much of a move on the day. Did show some big volatility at the beginning of the day, shooting straight up, and then it's going to be closing here at 5 o'clock Central Time, which is another hour and 20 minutes or so away, and that market will probably not move a whole lot more. Still currently in between our supply and our demand zone. Might be opportunities to do some spreads on this with gold, the gold ETF, which would be GLD. So this one's still sideways for, quite frankly, since May of this past year. Silver currently at $22.92, coming down near our demand zone. Again, I do like that demand zone, so we'll be looking at some options opportunity with probably the silver ETF coming up here the next week. So we'll make sure to check the show out next week. We'll see some opportunities with that. Bitcoin currently at $25,892 per Bitcoin, still in that range that it's been in for quite some time since the beginning of August, right around the 25,000 till 27,000 area. So Bitcoin still stagnant on the last month or so. Did see that big pop up, but came straight back down 2 days later. And just steady at that $26,000 mark. HNT, which is helium, still currently in that downtrend, not looking good for us helium miners, which is 5G network, currently at $1.45 per helium token. All right, now let's get into our stocks. At the original topic of the show here was going to be to cover some of the winners and losers of the week. Now, Apple, really a tough week for Apple. Currently down to $178.18 on the close. Post-market is showing $178.63, up just ever so slightly on the day. But really a rough week for the S&P 500. The week opened up, or I guess closed last week at about $188, so down roughly almost $10 per share. Was down to $173.67 and showed a little bit of a retracement here on Thursday and Friday. So a rough week for Apple. I do like this coming down. It's still a long ways away, but I do like the 141 to 145 area, this demand zone. There's a couple of zones below here, but it's got a long ways to go. Will this continue? Who knows? And only time will tell. BHG still on that struggle bus, back down to $6.89. For the local healthcare group, Bright Health in the Minnesota area, just not looking good for Bright Health. Have bad earnings. They did a stock split. Who knows what's going to happen with this stock? It could just disappear at one point, or if they get a buyout, we'll see what happens with that. But not looking good for the hometown healthcare stock. You have Nvidia currently at closing the week out at $455.72. Had a down week as well, so a lackluster week for Nvidia. Closed last week at $483, down almost $30. So for those Nvidia holders, I mean, it is still currently in a major uptrend. So this one still is showing major strength, but real rough week for Nvidia. Tesla actually had a positive week, up ever so slightly, closing the week out at $248.50. Let's see here. What are some major movers? Meta was up ever so slightly. Airbnb had a great week. I believe they had earnings or something. Oh, something happened this week with Airbnb. Let's see. Airbnb chief officer, blah, blah, blah. Interesting. So the Airbnb chief strategy officer, Blex, can't even say his last name, sells 20,000 shares for $2.9 million. So that's very interesting. And the stock jumps up. Let's see when it did that. The week was up pretty good. Was basically on Tuesday morning. And continued to show green candles on the day, but Tuesday had a pretty big jump on the day. So Airbnb on the week up almost 10%, 9.8% roughly. PayPal still struggling the last 3 weeks, down to $60.98. Google, which would be more known as Alphabet, closed the week at $37.20. Post market is up to $37.65. Sorry, $137.65. Amazon has a strong Thursday and Friday and closes the week just barely up on the week. Was down bigly, as we like to say on the show, but shows inches out of gain for the week. Snapchat still currently down in those bad areas, around $9.39 per share. I do like that demand zone at $8.71, which I believe is on a daily chart, which it actually showed a lot of bullish pressure when it got near that. So there might be some opportunities with that. But Snapchat, not a big fan of that one. WWE is still in that little range for the last 4, 5, 6 days after that big drop after the Saudi Arabia deal, and currently at $98.05. Was at $118.22 per share. 3M, still sideways, down, currently closed at $106.24. DocuSign, $50.21. And to round out some other stocks, let's go to UPS. I do want to check out that. Continuing the struggle bus down to $161.04. Target also continuing to struggle, down 0.6% on the day, which I think had a down week. And yes, I am correct, had a down week. So I do like that area down from the $110 to $100, where we might be able to get some buying pressure in there. So let's hope for some more downward action for you short-term traders. Might be some opportunities shorting. But I like to wait to get in the market with some of the strategies by selling some puts. And hopefully there's some volatility near that area, and we can collect some premium on that. And then hopefully get paid to get into that target at a discount. And that discount would be roughly a pretty good discount. That discount from the all-time highs would be about a 50% cut. So that might be an opportunity there for Target. AMC, let's not even look at that. We did some options on that last month. Really good options on that. Was able to close out before expiration. But you don't want to touch AMC. That's a very crazy stock. Then you got Disney, currently at $81.58. Did some options on that a few weeks back, actually probably about a month ago, and was able to get out before earnings. So great job for Disney. Had positive earnings. And rounding out the stocks, we're going to check out some of our retail. You have Nike, currently closed at $97.67, down from the highs of about $130. So that one's got taken a little haircut. Dick's Sporting Goods, $111.40, continuing the slide from $150 per share. So might be some opportunities there. And Macy's also continuing that slide. Really, it's interesting. I mean, Macy's had positive earnings as far as I can go back till 2019. Positive earnings all the way, even up until the 22nd of August, had positive earnings. I don't know how they're doing it, but continuing to slide with those positive earnings, which is very interesting. Now, they have an earnings call coming up on the 16th of November. We will see what happens with that, because a lot of these retailers are showing bad earnings because of theft. No, it does Macy's. Macy's might have a good online game, so we'll see what happens with that. But there might be some opportunities there. There's actually, they were just negative on the percent Bollinger Band, so it might be some opportunities there with some options there. And rounding out your last one would be Coinbase. Coinbase currently closed at $82.09 on the week. So we had the markets overall, as far as the major markets, S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Dow, really had a struggle bus week. The Russell kind of the worst of the bunch. The stock market with your Apples, some of those major ones struggled, but we had actually not that bad of a week for some of those. Oil is going to be showing some major strength. If I can find it here, find the right contract. Oil currently at $87, getting close to, showing some major strength here, passing a lot. I forget what that number or that dollar amount where the president said they would be buying barrels of oil, or they're going to try to hold the price. I think it's past that, actually. So oil continuing to show some pretty good strength. That is one of your futures markets, futures opportunities. Corn closing the week at $483, roughly and a half, and wheat $5.95 for you farmers. And those still in a pretty big downtrend. So some of your commodities continue to slide, including gold and silver. So your commodities are struggling other than oil. That's looking really good. Some of your stocks are struggling. Some are going up. So it depends on which ones you're getting into. Now, going back to your currency market, there were some opportunities we talked about a while back. And we have bearish bias with the Aussie dollar. That one is looking pretty good there. So doing what we're hoping it to do. And I'm just going to look at the euro dollar. Before we look at the US dollar, euro dollar in a bullish bias as well, and that one's in a wait and see mode. Looking at the US dollar, which dictates a lot of what the stock market does, and I look at the DXY for that, currently at 105.05, and broke the highs from June of this year. And I mentioned on the show probably 2-3 weeks ago, since we did break 102.50, I said, you can go look at the archives. I'm looking at the U.S. dollar getting up to 105. We are now at 105.05. And right now I'm kind of in a wait-and-see mode with some of the major currencies, especially against the U.S. dollar. If we get a close above the 107.50... if we get a close above... I'm looking at the next target as being 107.50. If we get a close above 106.25, I'm looking to take that to 107.50. So we're seeing some pretty strong pressure with the dollar, which will bring some weakness into the financial markets. So that is your overall market update. Yes, I know it took us 4 takes to get this, but we got her done. We will try to do some sort of topic tomorrow on the show. I'm not sure what exactly topic we will do. Some sort of psychology topic in the markets. If you do have some topics you want covered, put them in a chat. Make sure to subscribe and smash the like button on the podcast, whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. We appreciate all the 5-star reviews we've been getting. And if you don't like the show, send me an email and see how I can make it better. If there's anything that you want me to cover, I will definitely do that. And we do appreciate the positive reviews and the comments that we've been getting from the show. So we'll continue to do this every single day, probably not on Sundays. Sundays is a day of rest. That being said, we will see you next time. There will probably be a show tomorrow morning, so stay tuned for that, probably in the morning before noon. Because we have prime time, Deion Sanders playing at 11 o'clock Central Time against Nebraska. Let's go Buffs. As always, collect your profits when they're given to you, protect your losses, and keeping them small. Until next time, retire young, my friends.